The Medici, a name synonymous with the Italian Renaissance. They were bankers, patrons, and princes. Their story is one of ambition, power, and ultimately corruption, but it all began with wool. The family's humble beginnings in the 13th century saw them trading textiles and banking in Florence. Giovanni de' Medici, a visionary leader, established the Medici Bank in 1397. It quickly became a financial powerhouse, spreading its influence across Italy and beyond. Giovanni understood the power of money. He knew it could buy influence, and influence could secure power. The Medici Bank flourished under Giovanni's son, Cosimo the Elder. He was a master strategist, using his wealth to gain political control of Florence. Cosimo placed his allies in key positions of power, ensuring their loyalty through loans and favors. The Medici, once humble merchants, had become the puppet masters of Florence. Like and subscribe to MGO TV 360 History for more stories. The Medici's power was not solely built on money. They were masters of image and perception. To solidify their grip on Florence, they embarked on a grand campaign of patronage, funding art, architecture, and scholarship. The Medici became synonymous with the Renaissance's greatest artists and thinkers. They funded the likes of Donatello, Michelangelo, and Leonardo da Vinci, commissioning masterpieces that glorified both the artists and their patrons. The magnificent dome of the Duomo, a testament to Brunelleschi's genius, was a Medici-funded project. This patronage wasn't just about vanity. By aligning themselves with the leading lights of the age, the Medici enhanced their prestige and legitimacy. The Medici name became synonymous with the flourishing of art and learning that characterized the Renaissance. They were lauded as generous benefactors, their wealth seen as a force for good. But this image of enlightened rule masked a darker reality. The Pazzi conspiracy, a bloody plot to overthrow the Medici, exposed the fragility of their power. In 1478, a rival banking family, the Pazzi, conspired with powerful allies to assassinate Lorenzo de' Medici and his brother Giuliano. The attack took place during High Mass in the Duomo, the heart of Florence. Giuliano was stabbed to death, but Lorenzo, wounded, managed to escape. The audacity of the attack shocked Florence. The Pazzi miscalculated. Instead of turning the city against the Medici, the brutal act had the opposite effect. Public sympathy swung behind Lorenzo, now hailed as Il Magnifico, the Magnificent. The Pazzi conspirators were hunted down and brutally executed. Their powerful allies were exiled or silenced. The Pazzi conspiracy was a turning point. Lorenzo, shaken but resolute, consolidated his power. The city had entered a golden age, but it was a gilded cage. Florence divided wealth and want under Medici rule. The Medici's reign transformed Florence. They brought stability and prosperity, but at a price. Their policies favored the wealthy, widening the gap between rich and poor. The city's economy, heavily reliant on the wool trade, flourished under their patronage. Banking and commerce boomed, filling Medici coffers. However, this prosperity did not reach everyone. The Medici's tax policies disproportionately burdened the lower classes. The common people, the artisans and laborers who formed the backbone of Florence, struggled under the weight of unfair taxation. Resentment towards the Medici simmered beneath the surface. The Medici's control over the city's guilds stifled competition and innovation. The growing disparity between the opulent lifestyles of the Medici and the hardships faced by ordinary Florentines created a breeding ground for discontent. The seeds of the Medici's eventual downfall were sown in the very prosperity they had created. The bells toll for Medici exile and the First Republic. By the late 15th century, resentment towards the Medici had reached a boiling point. The extravagance and corruption of Lorenzo's son, Piero the Unfortunate, proved to be their undoing. Piero lacked his father's political acumen and alienated key allies. In 1494, the French King Charles XVIII invaded Italy, threatening Florence. Piero, in a desperate attempt to appease the French, agreed to humiliating concessions. This act of weakness proved fatal. The Florentines, outraged by Piero's cowardice, rose up and expelled the Medici family. The Medici were banished from Florence, their palaces ransacked by angry mobs. Their reign, which had lasted for over 60 years, came to an abrupt and ignominious end. Florence, for a brief period, experienced a resurgence of Republican ideals. Girolamo Savonarola, a fiery Dominican friar, emerged as a powerful voice, preaching against corruption and the excesses of the Medici. Savonarola's rule was short-lived. A Medici returns from exile to duchy. The Medici family's exile from Florence proved to be temporary. With the help of powerful allies, including the Pope and the Holy Roman Emperor, they plotted their return. In 1512, Spanish troops stormed Florence, restoring the Medici to power after almost 2 decades of exile. The restored Medici sought to establish a more permanent and absolute rule. In 1532, with the backing of the Pope, Alessandro de' Medici was installed as the first Duke of Florence, marking the end of the Florentine Republic. The duchy, a hereditary monarchy, solidified the Medici's grip on power. They were no longer merely influential citizens, but hereditary rulers, their authority unquestionable. The city, once a beacon of republicanism, became a pawn in the Medici's dynastic ambitions. The establishment of the duchy marked a significant shift in Florentine history. Legacy of the Lily, the enduring mark of the Medici. The Medici dynasty, despite its flaws and contradictions, left an indelible mark on history. Their patronage fueled the Italian Renaissance, shaping the course of art, architecture, and thought. Their banking empire revolutionized finance, laying the groundwork for modern banking systems. The Uffizi Gallery, once the Medici's administrative offices, stands today as a testament to their enduring legacy. Michelangelo's David, a symbol of Florentine independence and artistry, owes its existence to the Medici's support. However, their legacy is not without its shadows. Their ruthless pursuit of power, their corruption, and their role in dismantling the Florentine Republic serve as cautionary tales about the corrupting influence of absolute power. The Medici's Florence, for all its brilliance, was a city built on a foundation of inequality and oppression. Like and subscribe to MGO TV 360 History for more stories on power, intrigue, and history.